All right, it's another episode of the RSL Random Fan Podcast. I'm a host, Brandon Goebel, joined by
Tyler Thomas.
And Brendan is out of commission tonight. And we're just double checking. We did
Pulled a hammy.
Pulled
a hammy. Came up lame.
We are recording on all devices this time.
Yeah, and I think with Brennan out, we're going to have to go with the right-footed Brandt at center back.
Yeah.
And Tyler's going to slide over to the right.
Yeah, I could be like a training cone. That's about the extent of my abilities at the moment.
I think you'd get a good red card in per game, just knocking somebody over, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I could foul with the
solid
best of them.
church ball them.
So, anyway,
So with
RSL,
that,
did you guys have a good time on the break? I know we had a little bit of work to do during the break.
Yeah. And the U.S. men's national team got thumped by Colombia. And Colombia, I mean, to be fair, it was fairly close. 2-1 until like the 70-something minute. Made a couple subs, and the subs just didn't really do it. It wasn't really happening, we'll just say. And so they kind of gave up and ended up 5-1. Oh gosh, that was ugly at the end.
Yeah, I caught the last of the game there, and it was not pretty, and I can see why there's a ton of angst. I personally am not a Bearhalter fan.
I am not a USA versus Colombia fan. We did not look good. And yet, 3 days later, we played Brazil, one of the best teams in the world with some of the best players on the planet, who were fresh off of their Champions League win, and yet against those guys we actually did better. So it's kind of funny, like with Berhalter, it seems like he does better against the good teams. I don't know if they're just prepared better or what. I'm not sure how that works, but something about playing higher and better teams, the U.S. rises to the occasion. But this is not a USA podcast, but we could get into depth on that if you're wanting to line that up.
Well, excuse me. I thought it was interesting that I saw a tweet from Ronaldinho.
Oh, yeah?
Who said that he was done with watching Brazil play right now because they are, in his mind, a horrible team and not the Jogo Bonito.
No, they definitely don't. Jogo Bonito.
Of the
Is it
past.
Jogo? I don't know. I'm not Portuguese. I don't speak Portuguese.
Well, it's like Spanish, only prettier.
That's what I heard.
I don't know.
But Bonito is the same in both languages, right? And Jogo, I think it's Jogo Bonito. Yeah. Like, that's the point of Brazilian soccer, is to play pretty and enjoy the game. And especially guys like Ronaldinho.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Kids, if you want to know who Ronaldinho is, you need to go do your homework and look him up on YouTube. Ronaldinho.
Quite the magnificent foot there.
Yes, and if you watch any of his highlights, you'll be like, wow, that guy could do that? Yes. Yeah. Dance on the ball. It was always like a dance. I always kind of think of it like that when I think about him, but
he could salsa like crazy.
With the best of them. Better than the best of them.
So, also, while we were off, I did a couple of interviews. Brendan and I did one, and I did another one. And those just went out on the regular podcast.
Crawley Town.
Interviewed.
You can see him on YouTube, too.
Yeah, was able to interview one of the owners from Crawley Town, Preston Johnson, who had...
The Utah connection guy.
Yeah,
right?
Surprisingly quite a bit. He was actually in Utah, and I was like, you didn't look me up? I'm like the only Crawley Town fan here. You think at least you could do is,
Hey, come on over, bro. I got steaks ready and everything.
I got a Blackstone. I mean, I could have Blackstone the crap out of it for you, so, Preston. But he didn't. We learned a lot about him. Really interesting dude.
Yeah, started off gambling in high school. That's what led him to his career in buying. Yeah, so if you want to listen to that and piece that together, how that leads from one thing to the other. Owning a second-tier British club.
Third tier.
Third tier, sorry.
Well, they started the fourth, now they're third. Now so it was quite a season. And then we also interviewed Gary Smith again, catch up with their experience at Wembley, and Tony Vesey, his compadre who commentates and is the color guy
The voices
on the home games.
of Crawleytown FC.
And then there's Ken Blackmore who does the away games
Ken Blackmore does the away games?
with Gary.
How did I not know that?
Yeah, I don't know. You don't pay attention to the Come On Crawley update, obviously.
Oh,
So-
man. I really got to do my homework.
So, RSL, after the break, they went up to Canada.
And to be fair, Montreal is a city in Canada.
Yeah, and it's kind of like French.
It's very French, and it's eastern. It's like north of Vermont. Vermont is very remote.
Canada's an interesting place. I don't know if you know this, but...
There's a river, though, that goes through Quebec.
Okay.
But, yeah, no, tell me about Canada.
Most of the population of Canada, I think it's over 50%, maybe 80%.
Yeah.
It's an astronomical number. Live below the top of the United States.
Yeah. I think it's like 90% live within 100 miles of the border or something like that.
Yeah, up there, like right down there with Michigan and right in there.
Yeah,
Little...
basically the lake, the river that flows down into the Great Lakes and all that commerce that gets it out to the ocean. That's where all their cities are. That's where Toronto is. That's where Quebec is. And Montreal is the capital of Quebec. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Feel free to correct me. Quebec. That's how Canadians say it that are from there. But other people here say Quebec.
Oh, it's better than Quebec.
Never heard that one.
I ain't either. No, but
You're just making them up?
Yeah, I'm just making up as we go.
At least it's not Toronto.
So, RSL had some folks out. We've got, I thought this was interesting. Caleb Turner put this out. Give him credit on Twitter.
Oh, the availability report?
The availability report he puts out all the time. Kevin Bonilla is out with a knee injury suffered against Toronto.
Okay.
Pablo Ruiz
That was
out.
back in February, right?
Suffered in training. Injury suffered in training.
Okay.
Marcelo Silva, injury suffered in training. Eric Holt, hamstring injury in training.
Suffered in training. Okay.
Justin Glad, right ankle injury suffered
In
in training. So
What? That better not be serious.
4 to 6 weeks.
Now, to be fair, Bodie came in and was more than serviceable. He saved our bacon quite a few times. He did his very best Justin Glad impersonation. And he was pretty good at it, to be honest. Like, that guy more than filled in at center back.
And then also questionable is Michael Chang. He got into the game, but he was
He
injured
came in.
against Seattle. Obviously, he wasn't injured seriously, just enough to warrant caution and subbing him out in the Seattle
but
game.
the last home game, though, we saw him walking around, remember? Yeah, he was down walking around on the field.
But
In street clothes, not he wasn't in the 18.
5 players out, 4 of them injured in training. Do we need to have a chat with Pablo?
Well, and 3 of them were like, 2 of them within 2 days of each other, Holt and Silva.
Yeah.
Because Silva went out, and then Holt was like the next day.
Oh, I can do you one better. Yeah.
And they're both center backs. So it's like, quit it.
So we have
Quit it.
three center backs out.
Yeah, and if you count Glad, that's 4, right? Or is Bonilla not? No, he's a
He was a
guy,
left
right?
back.
Yeah.
He's still left back.
He's still?
As far as I know.
After all this time?
We'll see how he comes back with the knee. And then also a yellow card warning. Chicho Arango, Mecanelli, Andres Gomez, Alex Catranas, and Brian Vera. We have a lot of...
Was that all pregame?
Yeah. No, a lot of mean, naughty players who keep getting yellow cards.
I know, but it's kind of fun though, right? Like, it's fun when Vera goes in and clocks somebody, and then he's like, ref's like, yellow card, and he's like, I know. He puts up his hand like this, and he's like, I sanction that yellow card. I endorse that yellow card. Another yellow card brought to you in part by Brian Vera's left leg.
Wait, I'm not supposed to get a yellow card every game? Oh, that's how that works.
Yeah, that's when, if this Glad thing happened with him out, who jumps in?
Well, let's get to the lineups and we'll talk about it.
Well,
you already mentioned it.
No, I mean, we can do that, but I think it's Oviedo.
Oh, you're talking about left back? Or
No,
where's-
center back.
What about Quentin?
Oh, is Quentin in the... he was in the 18. He
Yeah.
just didn't play. Okay.
Yeah.
But
So
I do think it's interesting that he beat out Quentin to start at center back, right? Hidalgo?
yeah. Should we get to the starting lineup?
Do it.
All right, McMath in goal. Then we had Brody, Hidalgo, Vera, and Catranis across the back line. And the stalwarts that are Anelli and Ojeda. What do I call them?
I don't know.
Oneda.
Maida.
Aneda. And in the middle, and then we had Gomez, Chicho, and Diego Luna as the three across the midfield. And Anderson, Julio up top, and then on the bench, Beavers, Oviedo, Chang, Philip Quinton, Jacqueline, Barajas, Palacio, and Derek Silva. I think it's Derek Silva.
It doesn't matter. He
Tom.
hasn't played for us yet.
Yeah.
No,
Young
I
man.
think he has 4 minutes for us or something.
Yeah, he came in.
Yeah. Good job, 33.
So that was the starting lineup. I was a little nervous with Hidalgo, and it kind of makes me wonder, you bring in Philip Quinton,
Yeah.
who is a center back.
Right.
Hidalgo's not a center back. He just moved his way all the way from the front all the way to the back now. As they do here.
Hey, to be fair, like, good job, kid. Way to go, man. Like, you're getting time on lots of different places. Outside back, outside mid, and now center back, right? I think he's had 3 games at center back now.
Yes, and like you pointed out, he played relatively well.
Yeah, he did a lot of blocking. He did a lot of lunging. Not my favorite thing to see is like a lunge, but he was pretty good at the lunge. So he did. That's the key thing at center back. You gotta be able to read angles, and you gotta be really good at anticipating where the passes are going to go, and that's what he did exceptionally well on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed. One thing too, before we get too far into this, that I'm starting to be more comfortable with RSL playing out of the back.
Okay.
When they started this, like last season, the season before, when they would try to play out of the back, I would get so flipping nervous, right? Because it was like a turnover machine. And now, watching them play, knowing that's what they want to do, I'm just a lot more comfortable. Maybe it's just me adjusting to that.
Could be.
But I don't have the same type of anxiety when we're playing the ball because I know that that's what they want to do. And so, thoughts on the first half. We know the score was 0-0, so we can't belabor the goals.
Well, I thought it was interesting how the game kind of started off. Like, we played a couple out of the back and couldn't quite get it out of the back. The first, 5 minutes of the game, we did that twice. Kind of gave it away cheaply. And then Bryce Duke just kept decking in Ellie. And then it seemed like Duke was giving him the, come on, man, you're stronger than that kind of talk at one point of the game. And then Ellie's like, quit kicking me. I think, I'm not great at reading lips, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
There was one play, too, I think it was Vera, just came in and just absolutely drilled a ball right off of Bryce Duke.
Yeah, that was fun, huh? He was 6 feet away and he just drilled it off of him and out of bounds.
And we did forget one player we were going to talk about.
Oh, yeah?
Matt Crooks.
Matt Crooks.
Matt Crooks was unavailable for non-soccer related.
I saw that. I was like, non-soccer related? Brant, what's the story?
I think what it is true love.
True love?
True love. Cause
TLA?
Or, he went and had his nuptials.
Oh.
He went and
What's
got,
wrong with his nuptials?
his nuptials fixed.
Wait, what?
Well,
which one?
so when you get married,
Oh, he's got multiple nuptials.
So when you get married,
that
you have to give up your nuptials, right? If you want to be happily married.
I never understood that phrase.
No longer.
Nuptials?
They take your nuptials and they put them in a purse, and then they carry those around in a purse, and that's.
And those are your nuptials. And your wife has them forever and ever.
And every once in a while, if you're a good boy,
then you can.
She gets them out and lets you play with them.
Okay, fair. So he got married. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they said it was already planned. Obviously, I don't know that he had expectations of being in the United States playing soccer at this time. Probably when they planned their wedding because
because they were in Canada anyway, right?
Well, no, he was in England.
I know,
playing for Middlesbrough.
Playing in the United States.
Yeah, well,
Canada's not in the United States. And Montreal's about the furthest thing from the United States, even though it's just north of Vermont.
So I think they already had the date planned, and when they brought, they probably had to know about it. It's like, hey, I'm getting married.
And they're like, we'll give you the Toronto game or the Montreal game off.
Well, I doubt he just said, I don't know when we're playing, but I won't be there.
But you can have that night off, my man.
But supposedly he's supposed to be back.
Yeah.
For at least available for the game on Wednesday, back on Monday.
Nice.
And for the Wednesday game against Kansas City, that's just probably, great place to have a honeymoon. I don't know.
Kansas City?
Maybe he's into barbecue. I have no idea.
I could think of maybe one worse place to have a... But, whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah. Colorado?
Yeah. That would be the worst place to have
a honeymoon?
Unless you were beating the Rapids by 5 goals. Then, fair, have at it.
So Matt Crooks did not make it. And
we looked a little disjointed in midfield as a result.
No, I think that's a question I had. I thought Diego Luna played well. Made that comment, and somebody on a board I'm on mentioned they don't play the same position, and they don't really, but they do spend a lot of time swapping and playing through. Matt's more of a 10 in the middle, but he's all over the place as well. But I thought that he, not having him, we lost a little bit in the intangibles. It also could be 2 weeks off, a little bit of rust, obviously. But I think that it will be.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of passing when we should have shot, shooting when we should have passed, kicking it when we should have held it, stuff like that. And obviously it starts with Gomez because he's the most erratic, but also really good, right? So, that's the beauty and the sadness all wrapped into one of who is Gomez, right? He's just amazing, but also he's a kid, so sometimes he just kicks it to the other team. And you're like, I don't know what that was. And then the next time he dribbles by 3 guys and scores. So, try not to be too hard on him, but...
Well, I think there's a couple players, like Catranis and Crooks, that want to play forward more often than their teammates.
Yeah.
There's quite a few times, and you can't reward every run. I understand that. But there were quite a few times where there was a really nice run available, and we turn and pass back or do a square ball sideways. Yep. And I think with not having Crooks, we missed a few of those. Maybe he finds them, maybe he doesn't. And I will grant that they were off for 2 weeks, and RSL tends historically to come back a little rusty.
Yeah. Instead of keeping the well-oiled machine running.
But
kind of funny because I think they had 2 of their best chances in the first 5 or 6 minutes, right? They had that one 40 seconds in, and then 5th or 6th minute they had a really good other chance, and it ended up whizzing by the back post. Nobody made the back post run for them, and it would have been a tap in had they made the run. For Montreal, yeah, they were a little bit dangerous up front, and it kind of worried me, but. As the game wore on, you were like, oh, they're really not that dangerous. They're really not likely to score in this game. And I think that at the end of the game, they had a 1.2 or 1.3
1
projected goal.
RSL had 1.5, at least according to MLS Soccer. 1.5, and Montreal had 1.
Yeah, just over 1. So,
but I thought that was interesting. I think I don't know if Matt Crooks makes a difference in this game. Montreal had a great game plan, which was to foul and clog up the middle, and they made it difficult for Real Salt Lake through the middle. And
fouls at the end of the game? Do you know how many there were?
I do. I typed it up.
Oh,
16 for Montreal,
yeah.
And 11 fouls for us. And surprisingly, only one yellow card for us, which was Diego Luna.
I thought his yellow was a little odd too, but whatever.
He probably had enough to get clean.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I think they had a great game plan, which was to clog up the middle, be physical, and
kick us when we got past them.
And it's one of those games that's the first goal makes a huge difference.
First goal wins.
Essentially.
Right, in a game like that.
Well, if Montreal gets the first goal, then they just park the bus even more.
Right.
And hack even more.
And that's what, like, if I was a Montreal fan and I was sitting in that stadium and I paid good money and I'm like watching the other team take it to us, I would kind of be sad. Like, I would, you know. And to be fair, we are the top team in the West, so like, I get it, but you know, are we really gonna be? I kind of think that we got a lot of, I don't know, cred, if that's the right word. Like, teams are scared of us, right? Montreal played scared of us almost the whole game.
Yeah, they did. And their physical play kind of made it difficult. So, Montreal scores a goal. If they do, that makes it really hard because they'll just even become more compact.
Right.
But on the other side, if RSL breaks through, and they had some really good opportunities, I was going to mark, I remember one, I think it was in like the 30th minute or something, I can't remember, where they just had they missed a couple of passes where if they would have one-on-one. But they did have great opportunities. I think Chicho had one.
Yeah.
And they
Gomez had one around the 10th minute where he broke through and the outside back just kind of knocked it out. And it's just like, just little parts. If that ball's played just a little more centrally, he's in on goal, right? But, you know, just little things we missed throughout the game made a big difference.
And if RSL scores, this is a game where you want to get the first goal because then you open up Montreal, because then they have to come out and play, which, you know, everyone that follows soccer understands, I guess.
Right? Come out and play.
Or like myself, they've learned that all of these different ways that people talk about the game. Because like I said, as that game went on, I thought RSL was the better team, but at the same time, Montreal created some really good counters, and Zach McMath did a good job. There was one where he had a point blank shot where I don't know how.
Oh yeah, he like had to jump and catch it on the side.
I don't know how Montreal didn't score on that one.
Yeah, that one was their best.
But it was a great save by Zach. So all in all, how much can we talk about?
I mean, so congratulations to Zachary McMathery. Like, he's bringing back the factory of McMastery. I was trying to keep going. It didn't quite work, but
yeah. Well,
but no, good for him.
When you were rapping, your rapping days, you didn't have a studio. We just had a cassette recorder.
Well, now you know why I didn't go pro in rapping too, as well as soccer.
You didn't even make it into college for rapping.
No, I didn't even get a tryout.
So,
too funny. But no, I was glad that Zach had a solid game. He was great with his feet. He distributed pretty well, and he made a couple of great saves to keep us in the game. So, congrats to Zach.
And yeah, looking at the stats, RSL had 651. I think that's the most passes this season.
And I think the funny part is if you took the uncontested passes into consideration, I think, 500 of those were uncontested passes. They really just sat back a lot, and we just passed the ball around. I think I counted 10 passes one time where they didn't move. Just their forward. Only their forward moved, and we passed it to just, 3 or 4 guys around the back, and I was like, we're not really causing any movement there, guys. What are we looking for?
Yeah, and not having Crooks in there, or another player like Crooks, and having Anderson Julio up top, it's tough to get behind teams when they don't stretch.
Yeah, when they just keep dropping and dropping and dropping.
I think
because that's what you do with fast guys, right? You just drop back so that they can't just run behind you. And then every time you anticipate the ball going over your head, so you start running before they do.
That's the secret, kids, if you want to be a good center back.
Yeah.
So thoughts on really trying to figure out what to talk about during this game?
Well, I mean, there were some players on the other team that got yellow cards, so that was fun. Iankov got one for knocking over a couple people in a row. I think it was 2 or 3 times in a row he knocked people over. That was fun for him. Then he got a yellow card and pretty much disappeared the rest of the game defensively. He was in good positions, but he didn't make any strong challenges after that. And then Campbell got his in the 49th, and in the 50th minute, Saliba got his for like standing in the way of the restart, and I thought that was funny. And the announcers were making fun of him. They're like, "Come on, young man,
You know.
don't take a yellow for this. You know what to do. Don't do that."
Yeah, and like in the 14th minute, we had a nice breakaway with Anderson,
yeah.
Julio, and
That was probably our best chance of the game.
there was a little bit of frustration too that Canny eked through. Maybe it's because they were rusty, but I think Chicho was. I don't know that he was making the run quick enough and wasn't connected quick enough with Anderson Julio. So Anderson took the shot and he just kind of went. But I think if he had a little more patience, he could have laid it off for Chicho, and maybe we have a more dangerous shot. And there was a couple of instances during first and second half where players expressed some frustration with each other.
Yeah, I thought
but that happens every
too.
game. Every game.
I mean, usually they're, I don't know. I love to see when we're patient with each other on the team. You know, they're all pros. They're all trying their best. They're all doing their best. I don't mind a little bit of a, hey, put that ball here next time. That's where I want it, kind of a thing. I don't mind that at all. But you don't want to see the little P, the chicharito, you know, of, oh, come on, and then throwing your hands around, and yeah, that discourages your teammates. I think that's why he's out of LA, and that team is now Ricky Puig.
So, how about let's talk about the player. There was some really, really good play by RSL.
Yeah,
we could talk about the players.
Back pressure was good. Like I think Luna should have been just a little bit more selfish a couple times, where he had a good chance and he should have just taken it. You know, when you get open in the middle of the field, those are the best shots to take, because the goalie doesn't know where you're going, right? Like if you get out on the angles on the sides, there's really only two places to go: low to the high or high to the. Oh my goodness, I can't even.
Where do you go?
You go high to the near post, or you go low to the far, right? And that's pretty much the only place you can score if the goalie's in good positioning. But when you're in the middle of the field, you can go low, high, both sides. The world is your oyster. You can chip the goalie, right? There's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of open things. And it seemed like every time we got the ball to the middle of the field, we either chose to pass or we shot it and it got blocked. So either maybe they were in good positions and, we just didn't get good shots off, or, we just chose not to take them, one of the two.
So let's go through. We talked about McMath. I thought he had a very confident game. And,
definitely. Yeah.
And played well. Wasn't there one where he came out and missed the ball, or at least kind of redirected the player right at the top of the box, and then they went around and I think Brody saved it or something.
Oh yeah. Brody had a couple of defensive slide backs and take the ball. It wasn't really off the line, but I think the guy tried to round McMath, and then Brody came back and cleared it, which, he was last man back in that spot, so that made sense.
And Brody had a good game.
Yeah.
He's put together a few good games.
Yeah, he's definitely not the weak link that we anticipated teams would go after. He's done a great job, and again, it's not the same way that like Vera does a good job. Vera does a good job by passing, by being physical, by knocking people around, intimidation a little bit maybe. But Brody just kind of hangs around and ducks under and pokes the ball away. And, they can both be effective ways of playing defense, although I prefer the push him out of the way and win the ball back and then play it up the field type. Brody's been very effective at the other. So.
What about Hidalgo? He got the start again at center back.
Yep. Definitely an acceptable shift. He wasn't perfect, of course, but 7.5 maybe. He had a couple passes that were a little errant, but most of them were when they were attacking or in the final third of the game. So when he was trying to push, which you appreciate a center back every now and then trying to break lines, because it keeps the other team honest. They can pressure, and then once you break those lines, now they can't step in pressure because that ball might not be to that front line. So now they got to kind of watch and be a little less, right? It's that conversation we had about being one-dimensional. here we were trying to be multi-dimensional, and we never quite got one thing to work right. You know what I mean? We tried to get going down the right. We tried to get going down the left. We tried tried the middle, and they all kind of ended up with us just kicking it back. You know, Montreal hustled back. They get 4 or 5 guys behind the ball, and the ball would end up back at Vera's feet at midfield. Right, like that happened quite a few times. So I think overall, Hidalgo, Vera, center back pairing was solid. Every now and then, though, it just feels like they're like, go ahead and shoot that. I don't even care. Go ahead. You know, and it's like, no, dude, you got to block that. You know, like it just feels to me.
Hidalgo and Vera?
Yeah, like they don't stick in every time. But they didn't give up a goal, so it's hard to complain, right?
Yeah, it's hard to complain to get a point on the road, although you are the first place team in the West and you're playing against the 12th place team in the East, 11th or 12th place team in the East, who has struggled with injury. I don't know if it's in practice or in the game, but
no, they had a couple guys come back in the second half and they participated, which I thought was funny. But I mean, they're good players like Lapalainen and some of their other guys.
And however you say his name, Siroi, their goalie,
their
keeper.
Sirah.
They had mentioned, the announcers were mentioning, and I haven't paid much attention, obviously, to. I don't have that much time, but to how Montreal plays. But they kept mentioning that he has had some
flubs,
yeah. And it's too bad RSL didn't put a little more pressure on him too.
There were a couple times we did pressure him, and he almost made a flub, but then we didn't capitalize on it. You know. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on Catranis?
Catranis needs to be more involved, and he keeps getting maybe a little too high up the field. And so I think maybe if he sticks back just a little bit more, he'll do a little bit better. You know? Like, don't do the expected run into the box. Wait. You know, like, be the Kyle Beckerman and make that late run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think everybody knows he's over there, but...
Well, and he's definitely got skill. He's got tons of talent. He's really good at that. And, heck, like, just hang back a little, man. Right? It's almost like we're playing a three-back line with him in. Because he's always so high up the field. He's always higher than Brody. Almost always.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they want. And if that's the way you want what you want, then maybe use it.
Yeah.
Get him the ball.
Or come back a little bit more so you can receive the ball a little easier and be involved in the passing game a little bit more. And I think that, to me, is what he needs to do a little bit more. Be involved more. Come back a little bit more. And then go up the field and get that, killer cross in. But
I think that, for me, though, the two best players on the field were Ojeda and Anelli.
Tell me why.
I thought they were in the attack, and also they played great defense and were just harassing Montreal in the midfield. And they were recovering. They were getting balls back. And I thought they were really instrumental. Ojeda, even more than Anelli. I thought Ojeda was more active and was involved in the defense and helping out on defense and also making some runs forward because they were struggling to get forward.
Yeah, trying to get more stuff in the box.
I thought they, on a night where, no one really stood out, they stood out.
Yeah, in the 21st minute, even Ojeda took a butt to the head. So we started joking around because that's when Ivanov or whatever his name got a yellow card. It's because it was coming to Ojeda's head, and Ivanov or Ivankov or what is his name? That guy, he just jumped and kind of butted him in the back of the head, like the side of the head and stuff. And so I was like, Ivankov, you're a butthead. And we all started laughing. Anyway, it was a pretty good joke at that time. But
yeah, little kids, they like those jokes, don't they?
Yeah, I was watching with my kids. They thought it was pretty fun. Dad said, "But."
And then we had Gomez, Chicho, and Luna in the midfield. What were your thoughts on?
A little disconnected. I was kind of hoping for the move a little sooner to get the reserves in and change that up a little bit. but they kept holding off and kept holding off,
Excuse me.
and then, we made the sub in the 73rd, Barajas for Julio, thinking, okay, we got it, and then we never really got it.
And I think maybe our best chance was in the 25th minute when Luna hit Julio.
They called him offside on that play, right?
Yeah, and I think if it had gone to
Review.
VAR, he would have been onside.
I agree, because he was on with the guy on the far side. And then, but Chicho shot it, and their goalie just, got all sorts of big and just, he came out hard. And I think he took that one in the chest, but, I mean, that was a pretty decent chance for them, for us, I mean. And it kind of gave me the impression that we were going to score, and maybe win pretty easily. But we kept missing those opportunities or just not being tight and tidy on them.
Yeah. And right after that, 25th minute, Luna had, I thought he should have taken the shot first time out of the air.
Yeah.
And he tried to pass it back and find Gomez. And
Yeah, he's trying to be too cute. He just needs to find his smash, right? He had his green cleats on, just do a Hulk smash, bro. And
put the ball on for him.
Lawful send it after, right? Just flex and be like, I am Hulk, right?
So yeah, I thought they were just a little bit off, and maybe that comes to being rusty.
The other thing I thought that was odd, 25 aerial duels won for Montreal. Don't call us the Impact. Did you know they took away their Impact name?
Yeah, they're Club de Foot.
I know, they even put their logo in French. It's like, all right, don't call us the Impact. We're the Impacto.
They still have, I think one of their supporter sections is Impact something.
Yeah.
The Impact Collective or something said in the back. In French, that's the best I can do.
Oh, okay. It's
I didn't
in
have
French.
my Google Translate out.
All right, that makes sense. Club de Foot Montreal.
At least they changed their logo. They did do a big change. And
and then they went with that
ski resort. Yeah, it looked like a ski resort.
And then they went back to the Fleur de Lis kind of thing.
Yeah. There's been some relatively weak attempts at rebranding.
Yeah.
Chicago Fire had a horrible one.
Yeah.
It looked like they did it. Had a challenge and at an elementary school. See if you could come up with the.
It looked like it should have been Salt Lakes because they took our colors and then they took our mountain peaks. I was like, what? Yeah, and then they hurried and switched back to the Chicago badge, idea and stuff. So that was awkward. But I'm glad that Montreal switched back to the Fleur de Lis kind of a, those around here know it as the scout symbol, right? For those of you that have done scouts in the past.
We didn't ask Preston about if he was a scout.
Oh yeah, I should have asked him. Dang it. But yeah,
he probably would have. He probably is the first one to get a gambling merit badge.
Gambling merit badge. He probably created it,
Yeah.
set it up, and
Not
taught
gambling.
the kids how to do it. Right?
Well, I got the blackjack one, and then I got the Texas Hold'em, and then the roulette one is really tough.
Isn't that how he got a name for himself? Is he won like a Texas Hold'em tournament?
Oh yeah, he was really big into gambling and ended up on ESPN.
Had a kid.
So yeah,
Nice.
interesting cat. So, any more thoughts on the game? I mean, it's really hard to talk about 0-0. I mean, we can go back and break down individual plays.
Like when Bodie got hit in the head in the 27th minute. That's kind of crappy, right? I mean, kind of got headbutted. And anyway, it's good to see Chang back because Chang, he had, that kind of weird tackle a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was a little worried about him. I felt bad when he got subbed out of the Seattle game because I was hoping he would be able to make a difference. And I thought this hit on Hidalgo, very lucky that it wasn't more serious.
Well, I thought it should have been a yellow. I don't know why it wasn't.
Well, the announcers were heavily Montreal leaning.
Yeah, I get challenging for the ball, but he headed the ball and then the dude headed him in the face after it was gone.
Yeah, they were acting like it was Hidalgo's fault.
Right.
And I thought
he stuck his head in there.
It was a foul on the
He
guy.
headed the ball, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The announcers were definitely the leftover Montreal announcers from English.
Yeah, and
So-
I liked the older guy, I think it was, I liked not seeing them, just hearing them. The younger guy didn't sound like he was wanting to be there. You know, he reminded me of, if you listen to Landon Donovan commentate on games.
Yeah, sometimes Landon's
It's a little flat.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot of
excitement.
excitement, you know. Even if you have to manufacture a little bit, get kind of excited.
There you go. I like it.
You could. I thought he was kind of annoying me.
Yeah. Well, and I think Montreal, to be fair, they weren't playing their strongest lineup available, but they had a few guys coming back from injuries and whatnot. And Bryce Duke was a former Real Salt Lake player, right? Came up through the academy and went over to...
He's been around.
Yeah, and then he ended up in Miami, and then Miami traded him to Club de Foot.
No, he was in LAFC too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he seemed like he was trying to get his pound of flesh against RSL.
Yeah, he was
probably upset,
definitely kicking lots of people. Yeah, it was interesting. And then Anelli just kept knocking him over and taking fouls and stuff. I was like, that's funny. Mecca's owning him, and then he's laughing. That's my favorite part about Anelli, is he doesn't have to, like, Vera intimidate you. He just kind of, you know, knocks you over and then, like, takes the ball and then takes a foul. And it's really cool to see.
Yeah, every time he does that, and he baits somebody into a foul, or he ends up on the ground, I think I hear Nelson from The Simpsons. Ha ha. Like that's like, I got you.
Got you again, sucker. Who went to Cornell? That's what I keep thinking. Who went to Cornell? Was it you or me? Oh yeah, it was me.
And I think he was on the acapella group.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no.
Rid-a-dit-dit-do.
Yeah, that one. he
Love
personally knows the Nard Dog.
the Nard Dog.
So, how much more can we go? We don't need.
Well, we got to go at halftime.
All right, what are we going to talk about? Let's go to halftime. If you can't hear that, it's very jazzy. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-dum. Yeah. It doesn't have that. Anyway.
So at halftime, we're going to talk about
What are we going to talk about?
haircuts.
Haircuts.
Yep. Who has the coolest do on the team right now? Brant, you have any thoughts on coolest hair?
I miss my hair.
Right. So Chicho, right? I mean, the slick back with the, and then when he heads the ball, it comes forward. It's so cool, right?
Especially in slow motion. When he does it in slow motion.
Oh, I love when he does it in slow motion. And the chin hair, it's almost like just the lower jaw hair, right? It's only below his jawline. Anyway, I think that's pretty bad A. I think only rivaled by Vera's hair. And Vera's hair is, he's kind of got the semi-mullet thing that the kids are doing these days, right? Where they keep it really tight on the side, let it get a little long in the back, and then don't commit to the full mullet.
Yeah, and I don't begrudge anyone for having hair. You can have any kind of haircut you want.
Yeah, it's always cooler than what I got.
Yeah, I am more than jealous of someone that has a nice coif up there. But I don't know, there's some good haircuts. We gave Brody a hard time.
That's right, with the Roman haircut, the bowl cut.
It's coming around. It's growing out.
Yeah, it grew out. And Anelli with his dreads looks really intimidating.
Obviously I could not pull those off, right?
No, that would hurt really bad if you pulled them off.
No, I can pull them myself. Dad jokes. I guess it's still Father's Day somewhere.
Oh yeah, happy Father's Day, Brent.
Oh, happy Father's Day to you, Tyler.
Oh, thanks, man.
What'd you get me?
The same thing I got myself.
Aw, nice. I got you a rub.
So awkward. For those of you on camera, it's actually a nice mix of paprika and onion.
Oh, it's a secret. Secret.
Oh, brown sugar.
You'll never find it on Pinterest.
Brant's rubs. Don't look them up on Pinterest.
Don't look them up anywhere.
Don't go Google that, kids.
No,
don't go
no,
Google that. Your parents will get mad at you.
Yeah, I'll get in trouble.
But Brant on the podcast told me to go Google it. No,
I'll get a text from my mother before you know it. I raised you better than that. No, you didn't. So,
good times.
What about orange slices. We kind of been talking about the players. Who actually gets your orange slice for the entire game?
I'm going with Bodie. Bodie Hidalgo. He came in. Hasn't been consistently playing. Came off an injury. Had the week off, of course, to recover. And put in a workmanlike shift. I think everybody should be high on this kid. Like, I'm stoked for him. I'm so excited for Bodie. He gets my orange slice. Orange slice of the day. Boom, baby. Oh, by the way, show up to the game next week a little bit early and look for the Random Fan orange slices. We'll give you a water bottle sticker with a big old fat orange slice. Then you, too, can win an orange slice.
Absolutely, positively. So, yep, we will see you before the game. I'm going to give mine because I'm sure you were curious.
Brant, who's your orange slice for?
Brian Ojeda.
What?
Yeah, I thought he had a whale of a game. Because, you don't have any goal scorers, no any assists.
Right.
We do have some great attempts, but I thought Brian Ojeda was a monster, was a beast in the midfield.
He sure was. Breaking up plays.
And who would Brennan give?
I think Brennan
who
would give his
Brennan?
orange slice to the ref because he was so pink. I don't know. It was an interesting choice of color. Just kidding. No. The ref did a pretty good job. Their midfield was big and tried to push us around, and our skill outshone them, I think, in the midfield, especially defensively, midfieldy. But going forward, we just couldn't quite ever...
When was the first yellow?
Ivankov had one in the 20...
I think he could have given a yellow even earlier.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought he was very judicious with it. And I think he didn't let anyone, either side, get away with hacking.
Yeah.
If you're going to hack...
Bryce, dude, got away with a lot for not coming out with a yellow card. I think he had 5 or 6 fouls. But
yeah, I thought...
none
like
of them
I
were
said,
too egregious, I guess.
I think he could have ended up giving a few more. But I thought, like I said, I thought he was pretty judicious with it. And he called the fouls that kind of had an effect on the game. Even if they were a little chippy. There was a couple of times where he let RSL play on when Montreal was trying to foul them to stop the play, and he let it go. So I thought he had a relatively decent night.
Philip Dujic.
However you say that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Exactly, because he's Croatian and so am I.
Sure. Sure you are.
No, I thought it was interesting, too, how, okay, so Ivankov came in he left in the 61st minute, and Mason Toy came on. And Toy's quite a player, dude. That guy can play. He's a good player, but he's had some weird stretches of form, Mason Toy. And then Kokoraro, their number 9 big star signing, he comes on in the 61st minute for Ibrahim, who really hadn't done anything the whole game. Right? He's supposed to be super speedy and super good on the ball, and he really didn't have much of a game. Well, Kokoraro comes in and gets a yellow card 2 minutes in, just lays a couple guys out, and boom, yellow card. And I was like, you earned it, to be fair. And then they made 3 more subs, and we didn't sub till then. And
if we want to talk about a little bit about the second half, if we're done with halftime.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I jumped past.
No, I
end
just
of halftime.
I didn't know how far we're going to go.
Stupid.
But I guess there's more to talk about, even though it was a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
I thought it was an entertaining game.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, but the subs. Barajas came in for Julio in the 73rd minute. I think there could have been a change earlier there, but
Could have
because
probably been
of
2 subs too, but
because of the injury situation, we didn't have a deep bench. We had Beavers, who's going to come in. Maybe they go the other way. He could work his way up to forward, like Hidalgo's working his way back.
he's going back. He can go forward. Yeah, passing the night.
And Oviedo, I guess he could come in for
Catranas, but why? He wasn't getting beat or anything.
Or he could come in for Brody. I think he can play both sides. Or he could come in at center back. He's played center back, but you don't want him there.
Yeah, you don't want to just sub your center backs for no reason if they're playing well.
And then Chang came in the 83rd minute for Luna.
Really didn't do much either.
And then we had Quinton on the bench. I don't know where he comes in.
No.
Jockeson, I kind of wanted to see. I thought Jockeson could have come in.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, 83rd minute. Give him give him the run out, 10 minutes, and with stoppage time and whatnot.
Give Chicho a little break. I mean,
Yeah.
they obviously had a couple weeks off, so I mean, probably. But we do have a game on Wednesday, so I didn't think Palacios come in, and Silva. I think he's more of a center back, isn't he?
Yeah.
But we haven't seen him play, so I thought the only one that really could have made him come in and given some minutes might have been Jockerson. Palacios come in surprisingly quite frequently, but Aneta and O'Helly.
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 Aneta and Anelli were having just some great games. Maybe Palacio could come in for Anelli. I thought Ojeda was having a whale of a game. So I thought I wasn't really
I wouldn't
upset with the subs. I mean, there just wasn't anything. What do you do?
I think he just, I think he could have gone with Jockerson. He's made the bench quite a few times and gotten almost no playing time. You know what I mean? Give the kid 10 minutes, and you already pulled out Julio. Like, give one of our 2 stars a chance.
Give Gomez a break. He wasn't having
give him a break.
He wasn't being. You could leave Chicho in because Chicho is very much the glue for the team.
Right.
I thought Jocks, what was hurt? I mean, he doesn't know he's not supposed to be in there. So.
Yeah, but I did think we traveled light too. I think they had 3 more people on their bench than us, or 2. Yeah, 2 more. So I think we didn't bring the full 20, whatever.
Yeah, well, if we're not going to be nice in practice.
Yeah.
Practice. I guess we need to be a little more Allen Iverson.
Yeah, we had 8 guys on the bench, so a total of 19. Yeah. So, yeah, we're not very nice at practice, I guess. But again, like Silva's injury had nothing to do with anyone else. He lunged for the ball. Yeah. So, I mean, stuff happens. You nobody's jinxed. I don't even play that game with my kids. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. I provide all of the food you ever made. Like, are you kidding me? Now I owe you additional food? I have to provide Anyway, I'm just joking around. But yeah.
So it did end up a 0-0 tie. Obviously a draw. And I thought both sides, maybe RSL, especially in the first half, a few more chances. But with the subs and the fresh legs, Montreal was a little bit more dangerous in the second half.
Chance and...
So, and like I said, I thought, especially in the second half, whoever got a goal was going to win the game.
Yeah, for sure, especially late.
And but as it turned out, we kept a point on the road, which is where you want to start from. Although I thought, Montreal being 12th and the struggles, maybe 4 wins, 7 losses, 6 ties. Maybe
we could have pulled something off.
Yeah.
We could have played a lot better, right? I mean, the defense played relatively well, but we weren't great in the final third. We just weren't. So, a little sad. I think it takes a little bit of the wind out of our sails collectively, especially because we just got back from the break and we had a good run of form here recently. But dang it.
And I wonder if they're going to start feeling footsteps.
Oh, what does that mean?
If we look at the standings, let's look at the West, because that's where we are.
And that's the best. The best is in the West.
The West might be better. I know I gave you guys a hard time that the East was better last season, but I think the West, there's an argument the West is going to be better this year.
Well, with RSL stepping up and LAFC, both LA teams are good.
So we're still in first with 34 points. We're 1 ahead of LAFC, who has just been on a tear.
Yeah. Stupid Boanga went nuts against Orlando. Did you see that?
No. Oh, yeah, they were like 4-1.
It was a really close game, but in the end, it looked awkward.
We could run down the scores quick before we get the standings. Atlanta and Houston, 2-2 draw. Bless you. Which was really great for Atlanta. They'd lost like 5 in a row at home.
I know.
Charlotte beat DC United 1-0. New England beat Vancouver. And I just did a double check, and Krylock started.
Wow.
Subbed out at half. I don't know what for.
Probably because he didn't run much.
Ooh. But he is...
Bless his heart. I still like him,
I love
that guy. I would totally hang out with him if he came back to town. But
teasing the RSL fans.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because there's a lot of fans. RSL's getting old.
Well, we were, I think.
Well, not just 2005 we started, right?
Oh, okay.
2006.
You just mean like every club is getting older. Just
Yeah,
like
and I think
everyone is getting older. Like the
there's
world is getting older.
Yeah.
Like that.
In the year
Philosophically, we're getting old.
25, if we're still alive.
Right.
No, I think RSL is cycling through a new generation of fans.
Right.
And there's a lot of young fans that weren't there at the start. Maybe they were, but they were like 5
Gotcha.
or 6, and now they're in their 20s. And Damir Krylak might have been the first player that they really fell in love with, and he was really important for the team when he was here. But us fans that might be a little older, a little long in the tooth.
Right.
I remember the previous incarnation, and there were some great players that I think Demir's definitely in the top 10. It might even be top 5 players who ever played for RSL Lake. But so I think it's interesting that we're getting to that point where we're starting to get new generation of players.
Right.
A new generation of fans that haven't been there. And they'll be there long after we're gone, which kind of makes me mad.
It's funny. I was talking to somebody the other day about that, and I said, when did you become a Jazz fan? And they said, when Boozer and Darren Williams made it to the finals. Then I was like, or the Western Conference finals. And I was like, yeah, because I was wearing my Carlos Boozer jersey. Because if I ever played basketball, I play like a soccer player. So somebody was like, dude, you're such a bruiser. And I thought they said boozer.
Oh.
And so I went and bought the jersey. Anyway, it's not exactly true, but it's not exactly false.
It's a great story, though.
No, but I did like Carlos Boozer. And, he could go left, go right, finish at the rim on either hand. Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about basketball. But getting back to Real is like we got to have a team that's going to kick butt like these guys are doing right now. That's going to create that next generation of fans. That's the point I was getting to.
Yeah, and I love it. I love the fact that this is the best team we've had since the first run, 2007 to 2013.
13, yeah. Since that run.
So, and I'm like I've mentioned, I only have 2 teams I really root for. I'll root for the Jazz, but I don't watch their games.
Yeah, I mean.
But I grew up, I was an Adrian Dantley fan.
Yeah. Yeah, and that guy had game.
Yeah, look him up, fans. He was quite the inside player at 6'5". He was probably 6'3".
And he could still he would put his butt and he would just knock people off balance awkwardly and then get his shot off. And he was a really good shooter. So.
Yeah. So I really think, who knows? I think about these clubs that have been around forever, like Arsenal. Been around 100 years.
Well, they got to keep creating fans. That's the point, right?
So we're excited for this. But we'll get back to the standings.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't go over all the rest of the scores. We were talking
Real, LA, right?
We got talking about Krylak and went off on a tangent.
Right.
Red Bull, New York, and Nashville tied 0-0. LAFC took it to Orlando 3-1, like you mentioned. Miami 2-1. Philadelphia. I didn't watch the highlights, but I caught the end of the game, and I saw the two.
My gosh.
I saw the 2 red cards at the top of the scoreboard. I thought,
did you see it happen?
No, I didn't.
They were legit, but they were both second yellows, right? They were like guys that were going in on tackles full speed, sitting on a yellow, and the ref's like, dude, that's a second yellow. I agreed with them. I thought it was fair. Definitely, but the first yellow or second yellow happened in the 68th minute. That's when they started playing a man down, and then they started playing 2 men down in the 84th, and then they got the game-winning goal in the 94th.
I saw the game-winning goal. That was hilarious.
Yes, that was quite funny.
You're up 2. You're up 2 players, and
it's a 9v11.
You give up a counter.
Yeah,
and foul him.
Yeah. They had a chance to foul
dive
him
on
at
him.
one point, but did
Foul
not
him.
do it. Yeah.
Take the dog, so take the red card
And they
outside
did not
the
do
box.
that. Nope. And Fungus McGee, what was his name? Frugus Alfonso, went like the length of the court.
Length of the court, yeah.
Yeah, let's go in basketball reference there. No, I think he got it close to midfield and just took it all the way in and scored.
Yeah, and Philly's struggling this year. They are not the juggernaut that they've been in the past. They only have 20 points, 4 wins, 5 losses, 8 ties.
And I think we broke them when we went there and beat them in their house. They were like, "Oh, we're beatable."
I saw one of their players come out and say, "Hey, we gotta start buying better players. We can't just like."
Yeah, and then it's funny because Jim Curtin's one of the best coaches in MLS, and Philadelphia's always gotten really good value out of their players, and they've gotten players to step up, and they've had both the Aaronsons came out of there, right? Like good academy players. They've sold on really good players that have gone on to do great things, and now that like the well's a little dry, they missed on a couple players. Now all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, he's a bum." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's not. Jim Curtin's still a great coach. He didn't forget how to coach, So.
And Chicago 4-1 over Toronto. That's a surprising victory. Toronto's been playing well.
Yeah.
And Chicago jumped up and bit them. And they were in Toronto. FC Dallas got to lick some wounds because they got to play St. Louis, and St. Louis is not.
Yeah, that second goal was a little weird, but
St. Louis is having the season this year that I expected them to have last year.
Right.
And I am not surprised that they are struggling in their second season.
Couldn't have happened to a pinker team.
It couldn't happen to a better team. Colorado 2-0 over Austin. Both those teams are in the middle of the pack. Kansas City lost to the Galaxy 4-2. San Jose lost to Cincy 4-2. If I did that right. And
I think Seattle beat Minnesota. Did you get that one?
2-0.
Okay. Yeah.
So if we look at the standings, RSL 34 points. We played one more game than LAFC.
Okay.
And they have 33 points.
Ooh.
So dropping 2 points in Montreal against a 12th place team, that could come. But maybe RSL doesn't want to be top of the pack.
Well, our goal differential still top of the West.
17.
Yeah, and Miami's is now 16. So we're still tops in MLS in goal differential. And you don't get a trophy for goal differential. I just found that out.
What?
Just kidding. We just have never had such a good goal differential, so never cared. But now I'm like, hey, wouldn't that be cool if they gave away a trophy for goal differential?
Also, this is the best start that RSL's had at this point in the season.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yep, so, the best in-season winning streak.
14.
Ever. Yep.
If we get
non-losing streak, I guess.
Yeah, non-losing streak. The total record over 2 seasons is 18, if I remember right.
Yep.
So LAFC's nipping our heels, and I saw some people on Twitter from LAFC fans. They're really worried that someone is going to come and steal a Cherundolo from them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think he's going to go to Europe or something?
I think he's German, Hamburg, or wherever he was playing.
2 or 3 times? 2 or 3 seasons?
He played, where did he play? Hamburg or something?
I think so, yeah.
They're afraid that they're going to come stealing back. And I'm like, come on.
I guess they could, but...
Yeah, I think
I think he speaks German, right? I mean...
Probably. Spent a lot of time over there. Then LA's in third with 31 points. Same amount of games as us, so...
Is it Galaxy?
It's really tied up top. Top 3, Minnesota, with the loss, still at 29 points. But they're also 1 game behind us with 17. And then we've got Vancouver, who is kind of sticking around the middle there, 25. Colorado at 25 and 6th. And Houston, 23 points. And then after that, it's Austin at 23, Seattle 21, Portland 21, St. Louis 18, Dallas 17, Kansas City at 14, and San Jose 11 points. Just really stinking up the place.
Yeah.
Down there.
We need to get a couple San Jose games in.
Yeah, I think we got coming up. But let's talk about our next 2 games. Want to do that?
Yeah. What do we got next?
Next is this Wednesday, June 19th.
At home?
No.
At Kansas City?
At Kansas City. And what are you expecting? So Kansas City, 3 wins, 10 losses, 5 draws. They have a goal differential, your favorite stat, -8. They've given up 36 goals.
And I just expect more of the same. That's what I expect. More of the same. They'll have a good start, be really promising. Johnny Russell get some crazy shots on, and then they'll just kind of fall apart, give up some goals, and we'll walk out of there with a 3-2 win.
3-2?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Here's something to think about.
3-2 win?
That would be a good win. That would be a good win. Beaver's going to be in goal, right?
Oh, okay.
It's a Wednesday game when they've
he
said.
gets Wednesdays?
He gets Wednesdays, and I believe he's back in time from his international call-up, wherever. I think he went to Montevideo.
Montevideo.
So if we stay the course, he's going to be there in goal. And I think it's going to be a challenge. Kansas City is a tough place to play.
Yeah.
And they are looking to turn it around. And my hope is that it's even worse.
Yeah.
I hope that it is a classic RSL 4-1 beatdown, fire your coach kind of outing. Because there have been quite
Peter
a few.
Vermees says he can do a lot of stuff. Remember last year where they were like last and then they made the playoffs?
Yeah.
I mean, they did some crazy crap down the stretch, including that 3-2 win at our stadium, at the Riot, to help them get into the playoffs. So,
But how many years in a row can you do that? They have not been at the top of the table for a long time.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I don't know if it's they're not buying players or what, but man, let's keep this Kansas City team down. This is fantastic.
And it's a great opportunity for RSL to not play down to their opponents, which that's what good teams do. That's a transition.
Yeah.
Good teams learn to play and force other teams to play at their level. And when you struggle and play down to your opponents, that's when you get bit.
Yeah, we have almost as many wins as they have losses. 9 for us wins, 10 losses for them.
So that's what I'm really hoping for, is that just a resounding beatdown of Kansas City by RSL.
And then on Saturday night, LA is coming to town. The Galaxy, the Ricky Puigs, Powaga. You know that guy, the skinny little speedy guy in the middle of the field. He's fun to watch. It's definitely entertaining. Even if you don't like him, you can still at least be like, man, that guy's like the Energizer Bunny out there, running all over. And it's, again, go watch the LA highlights from the weekend. They scored 4 goals. So kind of fun, kind of entertaining. They've had mixed results against RSL, so definitely want to watch out for that.
And we'll see how the teams are rotated. Kansas City might not rotate because, well, they got to lose.
Right.
But LA Galaxy play on Wednesday at home against New York City FC, who has been on a tear as well.
Yeah, they've been moving up the East quite a bit.
So we'll see what happens there. We both play on Wednesday, and then we get to meet each other on Saturday at the Riot.
And then we don't play again until the 3rd of July.
We get a week off.
Yeah. The 3rd of July. Sandy, Utah. Is that Copa America? I think so. Or is it just a break for us?
Might just be a break for us because we got that game in hand.
Yeah,
it looks like we don't play on the...
Yeah, and then we have the 3rd and the 6th, which is kind of crazy. I saw that when the schedule first came out, and I was like, we have 2 home games in 3 days? July 3rd. Okay, that's a Wednesday game, but it's like our 4th of July game, right? And then that Saturday as well, the 6th. Basically back-to-back home games, and we have Houston and then Atlanta, which is, I don't think they've been here for a long time.
Yeah, those are some games you have to win.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. There's this Kansas City is a rivalry I would love to see back.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a lot of fun when you got a nice, fun rivalry. It's not, and that's why you want to beat your rivals all the time, but when you don't beat them, it's not much of a rivalry.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. And then LA Galaxy, that's going to be tough. I think we've got
Galaxy are good.
a couple of games to see if Montreal was just a rusty fluke or if we have stuff to work on and our injuries are catching up, which is my only worry for this club right now is injuries
are out there.
Injuries catching up to us, and then we'll see what happens when the transfer window opens.
Yeah, see if we go after another big difference maker, which we can. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, we could actually sign 2 DPs if they want to buy some folks down, move the MLS money around, however it works.
Yeah, the magic MLS money.
Yep.
Good stuff.
So, any other thoughts?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Excuse me. Gonna die here. But we talked about
Don't die. It's not worth it.
Come On Crawley update.
Yes.
Not much to talk about. In the off season.
For what's in the other podcasts.
Yeah, go listen to those if you want to know what it's like to be an American and own a.
Can you get some death threats and stuff in there? Like,
he kind of downplays it, but he did get some death threats.
he was
You know
like,
what was
yeah,
bad?
They're so passionate over there. Like,
They were rather naive, I think.
well, you called him naive in the interview. That was bold of you.
Oh, well, I can't be too much of a fanboy all the time. But I think they were watching that first season. I think they were really naive. They were excited.
Yeah.
They were trying to do something new, and in a place that doesn't like anything new.
Yeah.
If you've been there,
they don't like change. They still have castles and stuff there, right?
oh yeah. It takes a lot to. It's not like here where you have to build a building and 20 years, let's do something else. No, it's a whole process. They love their history, and as well they should. But yeah, it was a really interesting interview, especially having a tie. He's been to RSL games.
Yeah, he said 9 or 10, right?
Quite a few, and then all the stuff about Magna. He really goes on about Magna.
Yeah, a nice place to drive through on your way to Wendover.
Yeah. That maybe maybe he doesn't love a Magna.
Sounds like he's gonna come visit us, right?
Yeah, and then we also talked with Gary and Tony, what I thought was a really, really fun interview. It's always nice to have conversations with people that love soccer like we do. So do us a favor, go and listen. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our Goals TV channel.
Insta.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter, especially if you enjoy what we do. We're going to work on bringing even more stuff, but it really helps us continue to do this.
And if you are bored during the games, you can hit us up on Twitter. We'll chat it up. So.
And then nothing going on. I was going to say, it was one update. Jeremy Kelly, the American that they signed.
Yeah.
They signed him again.
Oh, okay.
And he's actually got dual citizenship, I think. His dad's English. He kind of spent 6 years in England. So,
yeah, because you really have to have a connection to England if you want to play in the lower tiers. Yeah, I think they only have, their international slots are severely limited.
And I don't know if it's an international slot. It's just...
Or whatever they call it, yeah. Whatever their rules are around that.
But also he talked about, Brandon kind of talked about the Oakland A's, the Moneyball, and that's kind of their approach. It's kind of fascinating. Crawley's a lot like Real Salt Lake in that they want to find the best value in players. They're not going to run out. I mean, we missed out on Mbappe, but so did Crawley. I think the three of us were trying to get Mbappe, but Real Madrid just came in with more money.
They were trying to pay him in NFTs, so that didn't work out.
No, he was onto him.
He's like, fungible tokens? No way, man.
So, anyway, thank you for listening, and we hope you had a great Father's Day, and we will see you at the next home game.
See you at the Riot.